Hey, I am Snigdha Sharma, your geography educator on Study Room. And in this chapter, we will going to learn forest and wildlife resources. So, when we discuss about forest and wildlife resources, first thing that should come into our mind is ecological system or ecosystem. Ecological system or ecosystem consists of all organisms and the physical environment in which they interact. It consists of both biotic and abiotic components, right? Biotic refers to living things and abiotic refers to non-living things. So all living organisms form complex web of ecological systems on which we are very dependent for our survival. So we all live within an interaction of living things and non-living things, and thus it makes our life. So the next thing that we should focus upon is biodiversity. How diverse is the life form around us? Biodiversity is a term used to describe the enormous variety of life on earth. So it is immensely rich in wildlife and cultivated species, diverse in form and functions, but closely integrated in a system through multiple network of interdependencies. What does this term multiple network of interdependencies mean? It may mean food chain as well as food web, right? Then comes flora and fauna in India. As the name suggests, flora would be flower. That means a kind of plants. So flora actually means flora is plants and fauna is used for animals. So flora is a plant life present in a particular region or time. Corresponding term for animal life is fauna. So India is one of the world's richest country in terms of vast array of biological diversity. So there are so many variety of animals and plants present over here. These diverse flora and fauna are so well integrated in our daily life that we take them for granted. But lately they are under great stress, mainly due to our insensitivity about the environment. So we humans are greedy and least concerned about the environment. The threatened list. So, according to their risk, they are categorized into the threatened list. So, some estimates suggest that at least 10% of India's recorded wild flora and 20% of its mammals are on the threatened list. So many of them are now critical. Critical, this term means on the verge of extinction. So they might extinct in the near future. This includes what all animals are included in this? Cheetah, pink-headed duck, mountain quail, forest spotted owlets, and plants like Maduka insignis, a variety of mahua, Habardia heptanuron, a species of grass. And there is no data present on how many species we have lost until now. So vanishing forest is also the biggest concern over here. So forests and trees cover in the country are 8,07,276 square kilometers. That is 24.56% of total geographical area. Dense forests are 12.4%, open forests are 9.26%, and mangrove forests are 0.15%. What does the current data states? So dense forest cover has increased by 3976 square kilometers. So there is an increase since 2017 and this is a positive step thereon. This apparent increase is due to conservation measures and management interventions. So sometimes humans are a benefit to the society when they try to conserve the animals and plants. Categorization of plants and animals. Because there is a vast diversity of plants and animals, there should be a categorization of them as well. Based on the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, that is IUCN, you have to remember the full form of abbreviation. We can classify them as follows. Normal species, which are general in number, you can see them in your daily life. Endangered species, they are threatened as well. Vulnerable, they might go into endangered in the near future. Rare species, they might go into vulnerable and endangered in the near future. Endemic species, animals which are linked to a specific region only. Extinct species which are extinct. So now we are going to focus on each and every species and categorization of them right now. Normal species. So species whose population levels are considered to be normal for their survival. Species such as cattle, sal, pine, rodents, rodents means rats or mice, are normal. You can see them in the numbers and they are not threatened or endangered like that. Then comes our endangered species. Species which are in danger of extinction. So in the future they might lose their existence. The survival of species is difficult if the negative factors that have led to decline in their population continues to operate. So the factors threatening them, if the negative factors are increasing, then there might be a problem. Examples, at least 2 examples you have to memorize. Black buck, crocodile. Indian wild ass, Indian rhino, lion-tailed macaw, sangai, brow-antler deer in Manipur. Right? Then comes vulnerable species. Vulnerable species are the species which are likely to move into endangered category in the near future if the negative factors continue to operate. Examples are blue sheep, Asiatic elephants, Gangetic dolphins. So Gangetic dolphins are found in Ganga river, right? Asiatic elephants are found in only Asian regions. Rare species that they might move into endangered or vulnerable if the negative factors continues to operate. Example, Himalayan brown bear, wild Asiatic buffalo, desert fox, hornbill. See how beautiful these animals are, and they are going to be threatened in the near future. Endemic species. Species that are linked to a particular region only. These are species which are only found in some particular areas, usually isolated by natural or geographical barriers. Example, Andaman teal, Nicobar pigeon, Andaman wild pig, mithun in Arunachal Pradesh. So you can see, as the name suggests, teal would only be found in Andaman, pigeon would only be found in Nicobar, and wild pig would only be found in Andaman, right? And mithun would only be found in Arunachal Pradesh. Extinct species, as the name suggests, they would not be seen any longer. So these are the species which are now not found after searches of known or likely areas where they may occur. A species may be extinct from a local area, region, country, continent, or the entire earth. Examples are Asiatic cheetah, pink-head duck. You can see the images herein. Asiatic cheetah. So now we are going to study about the case study here. World's fastest land mammal, the cheetah, can move at the speed of 112 kilometers per hour. Just imagine. The cheetah is often mistaken for a leopard. Sometimes people just get confused if it is cheetah or leopard. But their distinguishing mark that makes them unique is a long teardrop shaped lines on the each side of the nose. From the corner of its eyes to its mouth, you can see a difference. So from here you will know, like this area, you will know that no, this is cheetah and something else is leopard. So cheetahs are very widely distributed throughout Africa and Asia before 20th century. But the species was declared extinct in India in 1952. Negative factors causing depletion of flora and fauna. Human beings, first one is human beings. Human beings they are selfish, brutish, and that's why what they do. They use it, and they not only use it, they exploit the resources directly and indirectly. They use it for woods, barks, leaves, rubber, medicines, dyes, food, fuel, fodder, manure, etc. And during the colonial period, when it was affected by Britishers, India was ruled by Britishers. Expansion of railways, agriculture, commercial and scientific forestry and mining activities caused great damage. And after independence, agricultural expansion is one of the major cause of depletion of forest resources. Forest Survey of India has said 26,200 square kilometers of forest area was converted into agricultural land all over India. Tribal belts also what they do that they practice slash and burn agriculture. So this is two pieces of land. First one they'll grow crop here and after the harvest they would burn down this land and they will move to another set of land and they will grow here and after the harvest they burn this land and they move to another land and sometimes they come back to but only in some conditions, not always. So, shift slash and burn is also causing grave harm to the flora and fauna. Large scale developmental projects. Since 1951, over 5,000 square kilometer of forest was cleared for the River Valley project. Right? Forest clearing. Projects like Narmada Sagar project in Madhya Pradesh, 40,000 hectares of forest was cleared for only one project. Mining is the grave cause. Can you see any trees over here? Any greenery? No. Because they have to clear this land in order to drill the land. And that is why it is affecting flora and fauna of this land. So mining is a process of extracting useful minerals from the surface of the earth, including seas, ore, body, etc. It disturbs natural habitat, blocks migration routes of several species, including great Indian elephants. And the Buxa tiger reserves in West Bengal is threatened by dolomite mining. Can you imagine? Even the tiger reserves that are owned by the government, they are also under threat because of the mining, illegal minings that took place. Factors behind the depletion of forests. So, grazing and fuel wood collection is also a significant cause for the depletion. Like they eat everything, like the plant could have grown into trees, but they eat it beforehand. So, however, a substantial part of the fuel fodder demand is met by lopping rather than by felling entire trees. So they do not eat the entire trees. Okay, like this is a tree with roots, so they might eat some part of it. So their eating habits or their eating requirements can be met by downsizing this tree, not entirely cutting it from roots, but for mining purposes, for human purposes, you have to entirely eradicate the trees. But for animals, what happens? That they only eat a part of something, not the entire tree. So what is lopping? Lopping refers to? Lopping refers to trimming of tree branches to reduce and modify the size of tree. So they do not entirely eat everything. Factors behind the decline in India's biodiversity. How the diversity, the variety of animals and plant life is affected. First one is habitat destruction. We kill their homes so they cannot live longer. Hunting, killing them, poaching is exploiting their skin. Overexploitation is like you can see this. You could have used only two trees, but you will cut hundreds of trees and you would make an imbalance of in ecological system. Right? Environmental pollution, smokes coming from factories, poisoning using toxic fertilizers and throwing into the water bodies. It is also affecting the biodiversity. Forest fires, can you see? They are no man-made as well as natural. Other causes of environmental destruction is definitely overpopulation. More people means more mouths to feed, right? More people would acquire a single piece of land, but there are times when an American consumes 40 times more than the resources than average Somalian. Somali is a country, so Somalian are the people, right? So what Somalian consumes 40 times more American consumes. So as Gandhiji has put in his words that there is enough for everyone's need but not for everyone's greed and people are greedy enough. 10% of people hold 90% of its wealth, of the world's wealth. Unequal access to resources. Yeah, this is a major point of environmental destruction. The rich are able to exploit more resources while the poor have limited access to resources. Resources exploitation by the richest 5% of the society is more likely to cause ecological damage, right? Are colonial forest policies to be blamed for degradation? Are only those are the only policies which were made by Britishers are forced for degradation? No. From now on, also we are exploiting the forest resources, but there were certain policies that affected our forest very harshly. What was that? Enrichment plantation. So the colonizers used to instruct us that only grow crops which are of profit. Do not grow other crops. So in this way, what happens is diversity gets affected. Variety of animals and plant life gets affected. So a single commercially valuable species is extensively planted. Everybody is told to plant that only, and other species eliminated. This was heavily practiced and promoted during the colonial period and has extended to present day. Also, in the present times, also there are people who only grow crops only for profit purposes, not for maintaining the forest or maintaining the ecological balances. So, example is teak monoculture in South India. So, in South India, what happens? They are instructed only to produce teak. No other crop you should be cultivating. Share pine. That's name is its name is Pinus roxburghi. Plantation in the Himalayas have replaced the Himalayan oak, Quercus spp, and rhododendron forest. So rhododendron forest had Himalayan oaks in it, but chirpine cultivation was done so extensively that this tree this tree's cultivation increased by several folds, but Himalayan oak was destructed and was cut down, and it affected this forest and its biodiversity. And it's not only biological implication of deforestation and harming the environment, there are societal consequences also. There are social complications and implications also, like the poor. Within the poor, women are affected more than men. As you can see in the picture, they have to travel to 10 kilometers to fetch water for the family. So they have to do all the household chores also, have to take care of the babies also, have to work in the neighborhood fields also as a small wage worker. Plus they have to travel to bring water so that they can enable their basic needs. So women bear the major responsibility of collection of fuel, fodder, water, and other basic subsistence needs. As these resources are depleted, women sometimes have to walk more than 10 kilometers to collect them. And this causes serious health implication when you have to travel to certain distances every day. So it would definitely have some physical complications in your life, as well as what happens negligence of home and children because of the increased hours of work, which often has serious social implications, right? They are affected socially as well. Then it also has a cultural loss. It adds to cultural loss. Why it happens so? Because forest and wildlife is not only about for your needs. There is a culture attached to this as well. So this marginalizes and affects indigenous and other forest dependent communities. Indigenous are means communities which are local inhabitants of a particular region, and forest dependent communities like tribal communities which are dependent on components of wildlife for food, drink, medicine, culture, spirituality, etc. Poverty, the indirect impact. So it definitely affects the poverty, poor people also. What happens that because of the ecological imbalance, what happens? Drought occurs, deforestation induces floods, etc., which hits poor the hardest. For them, even food becomes a luxury. Forget about education. They cannot think of education right now because for them, initially they were dependent on forest for the foods, fuels, and medicines. But now what happens? There is no forest, so there is no food. There is no medicine. So for food, their life aim becomes to get 2 meals a day. That becomes their target. That is really sad. So poverty in these cases is a direct outcome of environmental destruction. Therefore, forests and wildlife are vital to the quality of the life and environment in the subcontinent. So here is a case study of Himalayan yew. The Himalayan yew, that is also called as Taxus wallaceiana, a medicinal plant found in parts of Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. A chemical compound called Taxol is extracted from Himalayan yew, and it is used for treating cancer. So it is the biggest selling anti-cancer drug in the world. And in the last 1 decade, what happened? Thousands of yew trees have dried up in various parts of Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. Why? Because of ecological imbalances. So in this video, we have learned about the biodiversity, what are biotic and abiotic components, and what are the different activities done by people to hurt the flora and fauna of a country, which affects the flora and fauna of the biodiversity present in our country. Then we learned about the social implication of this degrading forests, and we had 2 case studies, right? The Himalayan yew case studies and this tiger reserves and cheetahs case studies. So we have learned a lot in this chapter, and that's all you need to know about your forest and wildlife resources chapter. And we will learn more about conservation of forests and wildlife in India in the next chapter. Hope you all be happy and be safe. Thank you all.